Doug Peterson got fired, and it is the worst day of our lives because he's horrible, and now they're going to get a good coach, and they're going to fix Carson Wentz, and you and I have to go around listening to these freaking pimple-shouldered idiots go on about how great their quarterback is. I don't like it.
I miss the Dougie. I feel like we should play In the Arms of the Angels.
And you just see a visor with shitty hair just floating to heaven.
Damn it.
Yeah, so that's the big news of the week outside of the greatest weekend in football history, which is the Super Wild Card weekend. It's not even just wild card; it's Super Wild Card weekend. So we're excited about that.
This new playoff format needs to stay. I was crapping on it originally, but 2 triple headers back to back. Let's go.
It was unbelievable. And I like the way the new divisional round is timed. So it's like later in the day for us East Coasters. Yeah. And so it is 4 and 8:30, and then on Sunday it's 3 and 6:30, which is awesome. Give or take a couple minutes. So anyway, Buffalo Indy. My one quick takeaway from that is Josh Allen is here to stay. He is a legit Buffalo Bills franchise quarterback. First one since Jim Kelly was in his heyday 30 years ago. If it wasn't
for Aaron Rodgers, he's the MVP. He needs to get plenty of love. He should be second place.
I mean, they don't win that game. I mean, Indianapolis absolutely dominated every facet of that game. I thought that they were really good up front. I thought Rivers played an exceptional game. I thought they were good against they're good running the ball. They're really good, except for the X factor was Josh Allen, and Josh Allen took apart a better than above average defense. That's for sure. I mean, Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Xavier Woods is good out of nowhere. So I don't understand, but anyway. What you got from that game?
I'm just so glad that fumble, which I definitely thought was a fumble, did not go against the Bills. It did not end up costing them, because you could almost feel it. Like, poor Buffalo is just so beaten down and just used to how the other shoe is going to fall. And you're waiting for that moment. You're like, this might be it. This might be the moment that screws them. And thankfully it didn't, because I don't know what the ref saw. I absolutely thought he got back up, and I forget who was making the tackle on that play.
Jordan Poyer.
Poyer let him get up. Made sure he got up and then stripped the ball, which was just genius on his part. Like, high football IQ.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. All right, Rams Seattle. Basically, what I took away from this game is that the Los Angeles Rams might need a quarterback, and if they're going to win this game against Green Bay, they're going to need to have the game of his life from Cam Akers, and Aaron Donald 1,000,000% needs to be healthy. I don't think they're going to win the game, and we'll talk more about it later. But if Aaron Donald is not Aaron Donald, they're going to lose by like 30.
Well, and Aaron Donald also has, bruised rib cartilage or sore rib cartilage, which sounds like insanely painful. It's supposed to take 2 to 3 weeks to heal. Yeah. He's just going to give it a go. They're going to shoot him up. Hopefully they don't puncture his lung, but he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, those doctors did work in the same stadium as the one that almost stabbed Tyrod to death. So who knows? Yeah. The other thing is, the good thing about this Aaron Donald injury is that we finally learned that guy is actually a human being. So that's
still debatable. I mean,
it's still
he's just a higher form of human.
Well, that's true. I actually saw him with his family at Hershey Park like 2 years ago. My brother-in-law and I saw him. Not tall, but let me tell you, that man is thick, is what the kids are saying these days. He is absolutely THICCCCC. He is enormous, like just built like you would think, and kind of a cheap stroller guy. This kid was in a really cheap stroller. He has a pretty hefty contract. You'd think he'd get a better stroller. I'm not.
You thought he had like one of those like mountain bike ones that like all the suburban moms have when they're just jogging up a hill in their yoga pants.
Yeah, the Jeep. Yeah,
the Jeep thing with the 4x4. You can off road with the stroller, which I don't have kids. I don't know much about them, but I thought there was this thing called like shaken baby syndrome, where maybe the kid shouldn't just be bouncing up and down, their head whipping back and forth in the car.
Well, the kid wasn't a baby. The kid was probably about 3. And I mean, yeah, you're right.
Some kids have giant heads that can't be supported by their pencil dime necks.
It's true, but I will say that he had one of those strollers that you see like kind of in the middle of Walmart on an end cap that hang on a hook, like those little foldy guys. I'm just like, Donald. It's like I'm fairly confident he has more money than me. I mean, I'm not a financial whiz. I'm just looking at his contract, and I think he makes more money an hour than I do. So Anyway, Bucks Washington football team. The thing I took around from that is Tom Brady is still better than all the other old quarterbacks in the league, and it's not even close. I think that guy is still phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the avocado ice cream, man.
That and sleep. Because they showed the side-by-side of him and George Blanda, and I said to my wife that I was like, George Blanda looks older than my grandfather, who's been dead for 17 years.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot to be said about recovery and nutrition. Like, I'm 35 and I feel better. I'm in better shape than I was in my 20s. And it's not just working out, it's nutrition, massage, stretching, yoga, just taking care of your body. And, Brady's mastered that.
Yeah. The TB12 method, I'm about to get on that too, because I did a boxing workout this morning with a trainer. I mean, I'm trying to coach it just so it doesn't sound less masculine than it actually was. It was a what do you want to call it? It was just like a fitness class. So it wasn't like I was in a gym, I wasn't listening to Hosier take me to church and hitting the heavy bag in slow motion. I was, getting in a nice sweat with, with a bunch of other people, my age or older. So, it's fun though.
You're like doing Rocky, but it turns out you're listening to like Celine Dion.
My heart will go on. What actually they played is "Hate Me Now" by Puff Daddy and Nas, which I have not heard that song in like 15 years. It delighted me to no end. I immediately downloaded it. So, all right, Ravens, Titans, Lamar. I mean, that's what it is. He overcame a bad throw, got the monkey off his back, and now it's looking like Baltimore is going to be the toughest out in the playoffs left. And possibly if the Bills get by them, I think not that KC's no picnic if they were to win, but I mean, Baltimore is going to be their toughest challenge, I think, unless they play Green Bay in the Super Bowl.
You know what's not getting talked about enough, too, is that may be the new AFC rivalry, just because of how Tennessee just stormed on their logo on midfield and Baltimore gave it right back to them.
And the coaches hate each other. Like, they don't even shake hands at the end of games. I mean, they got into a fight in the regular season.
Dude, let me go off on this quick. I'm so happy for that. Like, I'm so sick of, like, everybody in buddy trading jerseys. Like, I want some old school hatred. Yeah. I can't stand you. I want to rip your head off. We're not shaking hands. Like, you disgust me. Get out of my face. I want more of that.
You want some Knicks Pacers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped watching the NBA. I want violence. I hate you. I want to kill you. I want
Reggie Miller running by your biggest celebrity fan with a choke thing on his neck, and you want guys going into the stands. It was a good time.
Like, Syracuse just played Georgetown the other day, so they're playing all the old highlights from the 80s and 90s. And little Pearl Washington, who was maybe like 6'1", took a swing at Patrick Ewing, shoved him, and took a swing at him. And
it's a foot difference too.
Decapitate him on his way back, and luckily missed.
Yeah,
I want more of that. I want the animosity. It just adds so much more to the game.
And you definitely got it in that game. But I would say in the Bears-Saints game, you got it in kind of a worse way. It was kind of a lot of malice because there were some punches thrown in that. But the other thing about the Bears-Saints game, that New Orleans probably has the best roster top to bottom. But man, Drew Brees, this day and age is a liability. I don't trust Taysom Hill, and Jameis Winston had to get LASIK. He was throwing so many interceptions. So that game was the best part about that game is the Nickelodeon broadcast. Honestly, that game was trash.
The flying cannons did it for me. That was amazing.
Yeah, and
sucked. It sucked so hard.
It did, but it did get an audible laugh out loud for me when SpongeBob, the first time he appeared between the goalposts, because as a man with a gap teeth, I thought it was hilarious that people always said about my teeth, it was like, oh, we can kick a field goal through those things, and you look like SpongeBob. Well, both those worlds were clashing in that game because SpongeBob appeared between two goalposts. What would have been better if they actually just had SpongeBob's whole face and then the teeth were the goalposts and you had to kick it between his teeth. That would have been amazing. But,
I love how, 25, 30 years ago, my parents were scared of me watching Nickelodeon because of Ren and Stimpy. And, fast forward and we get our first F-bomb on Nickelodeon television.
I know. By none other than Cordell Patterson, which was hilarious. So, yep. All right, last game.
Man, he can do it all. He can even curse on Nickelodeon. Nobody else can.
You know what? That guy was a first-round pick. Everyone thought he was a bust, and he found his niche as a special teams guy, and now he might be the best guy in the league. I love that guy. All right, Browns-Pittsburgh.
Shocker of the weekend, and for all the right reasons. And awesome.
And the other thing I'll say is Ben Roethlisberger looks as old as George Blanda. That's all I can really say.
That's crazy, too. He threw for like 500 yards, but they had him chuck it like 60 times. That's not a recipe for success.
Yeah, 100%.
Kudos to the Brownies. So the snap goes over Roethlisberger's head to start the game. They score a touchdown, and they're like, all right, we have our opening. Let's not take our foot off their throat. Let's just bury them. 28-0 in the first quarter. And, yeah, the Steelers made a bit of a comeback, and you started to get worried for Cleveland, like, oh, same old Cleveland. How are they going to screw it up? But just come out and kill them, man. I was so impressed by that.
And Cleveland played with so much more energy too. That's the other thing that a lot of people aren't pointing out is Cleveland played with a ton of energy. They were so relentless. They just seemed faster and better in every facet of the game. I mean, that game was nowhere near as close as that 11 point differential at the end of the game. It was just not even close. And we'll get into our picks in a second here, but you had the over, and Cleveland hit the over by themselves. So I thought that was fascinating too. So getting into our picks
too, because the line started out as like -3. I think it was -3.5 at the beginning of the week, and then we got the news about Cleveland, all the COVID cases, and it ballooned up to +6. Or I'm sorry, Cleveland started out as +3.5, ballooned to +6, and they just covered the money line. Like Vegas was trying to lure us in a little bit, and it didn't even matter.
Yeah. No, 100%. So the thing about our picks, I'm going to go over. I was 3-2-1. I missed on the Bills -6.5. Got the Rams. The Bucks were a push. I lost the Titans money line. Then I came up big on the Saints Browns. You were a push. You were 2-2-2. You were a push on the Bills Colts at the over 51. They scored exactly 51. You got the Rams +4.5. You got the push on the Washington +8. Lost the Titans, lost the Bears, and you hit the over. The Browns hit the over by themselves at 47.5. So I won again. I won the bet again. So what streaming services do you have? Because I got to assign you 2 things now. So what streaming services do you have?
We got Netflix, Prime, and YouTube TV, which is just cable.
Okay. So Netflix, I think. Oh man, it's so hard to even say anything because have you ever watched Breaking Bad?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? We'll do this later. But you're gonna owe me 2 movies. So I did assign you something from Hulu, but you don't have Hulu, so that sucks. All right. So
yeah, give it a month or 2. I do the whole thing where I cycle in and out of different streaming services.
Makes sense because I'll probably have you watch the first 3 episodes of Dave, which is the Little Dicky show. The end of the first one cracked me up. The end of the 3rd episode is, I can guarantee you, it'll be the hardest you laugh in a long time. I promise you.
I think I already know what it is. The table thing in the garage.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
I saw it.
It was absolutely incredible. So, and that's got our boy Santino. We love that guy. Anyway, game 1 of the divisional round. We're gonna go over it real quick. We're gonna do our bets. And talk about the game a little bit more in depth, and we're also going to keep track of our bets and do what we did the last 3 weeks and see who wins. So first game, the Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. The line, now if you have a different line and you want to go off of your line, then that's fine. If my line's a better number, by all means take it. Whichever one you have, that's what I'm going to write down. So Los Angeles Rams at Green Bay Packers in Lambeau, empty stadium, which sucks. Packers are -7. The over under is 46.5. I am going Green Bay -7. This line could not be high enough for me. I think Green Bay is absolutely going to roll the Rams.
Whoo, man, I wish it was 6.5. I hate 7. I absolutely hate it.
I absolutely hate the non-half numbers. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because then I hate ties. It drives me crazy.
Over under 46.5. I don't know what to think of the Rams. I don't understand why Goff didn't start and then he came into the game. That made no sense to me at all. I don't know who's going to be under center. I don't know the health of Aaron Donald. There's so many question marks with the Rams, and we know what the Packers are. We know the Packers can score. We know Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, and we know he's clutch in the playoffs. Man, if I got to pick anything, I'm taking Rodgers in the -7.
Okay. So that's So that what you just explained was my rationale too. There's so many question marks with the Rams right now, and I think if all is well, I would actually probably take the Rams +7. But it's just the quarterback situation is flimsy. The Rams' only saving grace, I think, would be their run game against Green Bay's not very good run defense. But I actually think Green Bay is very good. Jair Alexander is phenomenal. Like that guy is a top 3 cornerback, and nobody talks about him. But that I just don't trust. I just don't trust whatever their quarterback situation is. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he's necessarily affected by other teams' great defenses. I just think that guy, as long as he doesn't have the flu like he did against Atlanta a couple years ago, I just don't see a scenario in which he loses to a team with this many injury concerns and this many kind of question marks going into that game.
I'm looking at the weather too in Green Bay because remember how we talked about when Tennessee was playing them on, what was it, Sunday Night Football?
Yeah,
and we were wondering about Tennessee can just run the ball and Green Bay just absolutely smoked them. I don't think the weather's going to be that bad, but it's going to be 33, a little bit of a wind, a few flurries or snow showers possible. So it'll be cold. I mean, it's Lambeau in January, big surprise.
Right.
But I gotta go Green Bay. I don't trust the Rams and what they have.
All right, understood. So yeah, that's we're both going -7. That'll be a wash, regardless of the thing. Baltimore at Buffalo. This game is I have -2.5 and 49.5 is the over under. I am taking Buffalo at a very hesitant 2.5.
This is the game of the weekend. I am so excited for this matchup. And thank God that they were smart enough to put this one in prime time this time. Like, by far, this is going to be the best game.
So this game, though, weather-wise, while you're doing you're trying to decide on your pick here, weather-wise, it's a Saturday night game. It's in Orchard Park. As of right now, and this is Buffalo, so this could change. Yeah, well, it's not. It's going to be like 29, which is phenomenal for a January night in Buffalo. It's actually kind of hot for Buffalo in January. But 29, about an inch of snow expected. Keyword there being expected. And Lamar Jackson has said he's never played in snow a day in his life. So they get some snow. I'm sure they can just find it.
Buffalo, or
I don't know. He plays in Baltimore. He played in Louisville. I don't think he's from Florida.
I mean, Baltimore's not warm this time of year. Like, he's playing cold. And he's playing in Pittsburgh. That's cold. So
that's snow, though. So we'll see. I don't know if that's even really a factor. I mean, he's a guy that runs. I think if you're a defensive guy trying to react, you're more likely to slip than an offensive guy knowing exactly what he's doing. So, I think the snow can make Lamar a little bit more dangerous, but I also think that Allen will be able to throw in the snow. And I think that's an advantage for Buffalo.
No, that's an inch. That's just Buffalo. Like that's Buffalo in September. That's nothing crazy.
Yeah, but the thing is, the weather is kind of unpredictable depending how the wind's blowing off the lake, especially in Orchard Park and the south towns of Buffalo. My God, they get demolished. I went to the game against Indianapolis a couple of years ago, and I think I've said this on the show, but my best friend said he would last longer with Carrie Underwood than I did at that game, and that cannot be overstated. It is so accurate. So
I went to a game years ago. This was maybe 13, 14 years ago now, and it was like week 16 or 17. It was the Broncos at the Bills. Both teams were out of the playoffs. Both teams sucked. I think halftime it was like 3-3. And, I preach about being a guy who never, ever leaves a game early. It was 37 degrees, windy, and rainy at that game, and I was wearing sneakers. I left at halftime. I was the most miserable and cold I've ever been in my life.
This was in 2005, like right around Christmas. Yes, because I went to this game too. This was actually the game I went to right after basic training. I had gotten out of basic training that morning, or got home, I should say, from basic training that morning. It was a Saturday game, and it was on ESPN, and I went to that game too, and yes, it was miserable. I actually have a picture when I got developed at like Phase or whatever the hell it was called back then.
Phase. Shout out to Phase.
Big shout out to Phase. Hopefully soon to be sponsor of this show, Phase.
Phase Drugs is where you can get your vaccine right now, by the way, in case anyone's looking.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can find them out back in a dumpster behind the Capitol in Albany. But there was I have a picture of a guy dressed like some sort of bird in the bathroom. Buffalo Bills versus Denver Broncos. No bird-related thing in there. And that was also the game where a guy was wearing a Miami Dolphins jacket, again, to a Broncos-Bills game, wearing a Dolphins jacket, and someone yelled, "Squish the fish," and flipped the dude's nachos right into the guy's chest.
Well, dude, you're asking for it. Like, come on. I get it if, like, your team is playing, but you're just going to troll people like that? Like, when I was leaving at halftime, I saw a dude in a Broncos jacket, like, get his skull, like, stomped in outside the stadium. Some dude, like, took the Timberlands to his head. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, man.
Yeah, that's old. That's old Buffalo.
That was kind of uncool. The nachos is funny. That was like straight up assault.
Yeah, that's just like, oh, I have cold cheese stuck to my jacket now. This sucks.
Yeah.
But this is the days before OxyClean, I think. So I don't know if that guy ever got that out of that jacket. Anyway, what's your prediction for this game?
Oh, you said you got -2.5 and
Yeah.
what, 49.5?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna go a twofer. I want the over and I want the Bills.
Ooh. So you want -2.5?
Yep.
And you're going to take the over.
Yeah. I can't see this being a low-scoring game between these two teams.
Yeah, I'm not that bold.
Both teams can just light it up for 30 to 40 easily.
Right. So, okay. Sounds good. You know what? For fun's sake, I'm going to take 49.5, and I'll take the under.
You don't have to take this one. You can save it on another one if you want.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? Yeah, I'll do that. That'll be the bonus. So I'm not doing that. All right. So next game.
Be a fun game. Come on, we both want this to be a fun game. That's why you got to bet the over.
I absolutely do want this to be a fun game.
It would pain me to bet the under on this game.
Yes. So next game Sunday, 3:00. Cleveland at Kansas City. The line is 9.5. Kansas City, and 54.5 is the over under.
Ooh, I have it's at 10 now and 56. What I have on Bovada.
I'm gonna. Man, what's the weather in Kansas City gonna be?
Probably cold.
Well, yeah. But so here, so for here, I had 45 and sunny. Oh my God! So I have Cleveland 9.5. I'm taking Cleveland plus 9.5, and I'm taking your over 56. I'm taking your over 56. I'm taking the over on the 56. Yeah, with that weather, those two teams, absolutely, I'm taking the over.
That's a lot of points, man, for a playoff game.
I'm taking it. Listen, I'm taking it. I think Baker could sling it. I don't think either secondary is particularly that good. Cleveland, man, they can put points on you, man. They put a lot of points on Baltimore. They put a lot of points on Pittsburgh. Both have good defenses, man. They had Tennessee. They lit up Tennessee too. Cleveland's actually quietly been kind of hot lately. So, I'm thinking
so good when they play their strengths. Run the ball, move Baker around, use the play action. Like, when they play their game, Cleveland is a tough team, and we saw
they are. And you want to know who they're reminding me of right now? They're reminding me of the 2007 Giants, man. And I'm telling you, they got a quarterback that a lot of people don't think are good. They have a two-headed monster, obviously clearly more talented than what the Giants had. Good offensive line, good defensive line. The nobody believes in us factor. I'm telling you, man, this Cleveland, they can control the ball. I don't know, but the Chiefs can also score 35 points in a quarter. So, take with it what you got. But
see, that's what's funny too, because we talk about, like, everyone thinks the way to beat Kansas City is just ball control, which normally is how it is with a high-powered offense. Keep it out of the quarterback's hands. I don't think Kansas City has. Maybe they had like 2 or 3 games all year where they've won the time of possession. They can just score with like 4 minutes or less. They don't need long sustained drives, and somehow they're just never out of sync. They flip that old switch and just gun it down the field, and it's mind-boggling. We saw it last year in the playoff game against Tennessee. They went down big early, and they had the lead going into halftime, which was an awesome first-half bet live on my part.
Yeah. But, okay, so what you got for that game?
I got to go Brownies, too. I mean, I've talked about it time and time and time and time again.
9.5 or 10. 9.5 or 10.
Give me 10. That's what I have on my end.
Plus
and 10. I'm thinking I'm going to swing by the casino and place that bet tomorrow, too, before that line moves even more. Because I think all the money's going to come in on Cleveland. Kansas City doesn't cover. They never cover.
Never.
It's insane how bad they are against the spread.
They play to their competition a lot.
What's that?
They played to their competition a lot. And I'm not necessarily predicting Kansas City to lose. I'm more or less just saying, like, I just think that spread is too big for a team like Cleveland that is lot more talented than people give him credit for. And I think that, I don't know if Kansas City, if they had a little bit better of a defense, maybe I'd feel a little different, but I just don't, man. I really just don't. I don't know if Kansas City is, they like to keep it close for whatever reason. And if Cleveland gets a lead and they just Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt you to death, they're hitting Jarvis Landry for 7-yard slants and Jarvis takes 14, they'll do that shit to you all game. And their tight ends are also not bad.
And maybe Vegas is trying to lure us in with this one with such a high line. I mean,
yes,
it's easily the highest of the weekend. But, the fact that Kansas City historically doesn't cover, you're giving me 10 points. Like,
yeah,
I don't care if Vegas is trying to lure me in. Like, I will swallow that hook. I'm ready to go with it. And
yeah,
you said you're taking the over?
I am taking over, and I'm taking your number. I'm taking the 56.
I want the under.
Ooh.
I think the only way Cleveland wins this game is to keep it close.
Taking the under 56?
Yeah, it's too many points.
Okay.
This season, I forget the exact stat, but I know it's something small. Whenever a line starts out 55, the over-under is 55, the under hits way often, or way more than the under. I wish I had the exact number. Or the under hits more than the over. I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. I know what you're saying. All right, last game, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. The line I have is -4.5 for New Orleans, and the over-under is 49.5. This is my lock, actually. This is my pick here is my lock of the weekend. I am 1,000,000% just this is what I know is going to happen. I am taking Tampa Bay money line +165. I 1,000,000% feel that Tampa is going to win this game. There's no way Tom Brady loses 3 times to the same team in less than a calendar year. I think Brady's playing at his peak. Antonio Brown is coming alive. I just do not. I think Tampa Bay is quietly becoming a juggernaut. And man, if I had, if my wife wouldn't throw me out, I would put $1,000 on Tampa in the Bills Super Bowl.
So where are you getting these lines? You have Tampa +4.5?
Yes. DraftKings.
Oh, okay. On Bovada, I got Tampa +3, and I love +3, but if you're gonna be 4.5, hammer Tampa Bay.
So you're doing Tampa 4.5.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I sent you the lines. So, this is kind of a better theory that a lot of people have, which is like what you want to do is you want to bet early before the lines move, right? So this is the line. Yeah. These lines came out. I think late Sunday night, early Monday morning. So you want to hammer the lines early. That way the public doesn't. That way you get like what the sharps think as opposed to what the public is betting, because that's how the line moves. So
typically you want to go against what the public is betting, especially if the money is like 75% or more.
Yes, 100%. So I sent this.
Always buys into recency bias, and they fall in love with the wrong things. They're just
right. And I sent you these lines on Monday morning at 6:45. So these were.
Bet that down, then. I was gonna say there's no way I'm stopping my turning stone and getting 4.5 in that game. There's no way in hell.
Yeah. So for our purposes, I guess that's what we're doing. Yeah. So, all right. So those are our bets. So I'll just go over them. I have the Rams and the Rams Green Bay game. We both have -7. The Bills game, we both have -2.5. Buffalo. You're taking the 49.5 over. For Cleveland at Kansas City, I have Cleveland +9.5. You have Cleveland +10. You have the under 56. I have the over 56. And for Tampa Bay at New Orleans, I am money lining Tampa Bay. I think they're just going to win straight up, and that is my lock. That is the one I feel the most confident about. And you are taking Tampa +4.5. So, we still have about we're going to cut this show a little short. Probably going to do like 45 minutes. But these games, we've talked about them. So I want to talk about a topic with you. I didn't prep you for this, but I think organically we can talk about this. So hypothetically, if you're doing an old quarterback draft, right?
Yeah.
And your old quarterbacks are Phil Rivers, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Brady. Let me know if I'm forgetting somebody. And I'm saying
quarterbacks right now playing.
Old quarterbacks now, yeah. So of those, there's Brady, Breeze.
Pretty much all the NFC quarterbacks.
Yeah, Ben, Rivers. I don't want to put Rodgers in there because he's not. It's so hard because Rodgers is. I mean, Alex Smith is.
Right?
Yeah, so we'll even go, 2005 draft and before. So that is Alex Smith and Rodgers. So
You know
what
what's
you and
crazy
I
about
are
that?
going to
Did you see the oldest quarterback in the AFC playoffs left is 25? And I want to say it's Baker.
is it Baker? That makes sense.
It's either
So
Baker or Josh Allen, I think, because I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson's 24.
he's younger than Joe Burrow. People have
Yeah,
said that like 900
it's
times this
insane.
season. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. So I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. So we're doing 2000. We'll do 2006 and before of the quarterbacks drafted, right? So all right, Steelers. So we got Then these are starting quarterbacks that have played the majority of the season for their teams. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anybody else.
That's it. Because we have the youth movement now at quarterback.
Right. Yeah. Now Cousins was 12. Stafford is 09. He's close, but I'm not going to put him in there. So Breeze. Matt Ryan was 2008. Do we want to include him?
Does anybody care about Matt Ryan?
No one does. Okay, perfect. So we got these 6.
Sorry
So what
to
you
say, but, like, nobody ever talks about him anymore. You're just
I
like,
know.
he's there.
He won an MVP and should have won a Super Bowl if Kyle Shanahan wasn't like, so a lot of zeal in that Super Bowl play calling by him. So what you and I are going to do, we're going to do a quarterback, an old quarterback draft real quick. And this is just a way to get them to, or a way to get us to talk about these old quarterbacks, right? So I'm going to write 1 or 2 down on this piece of paper, and you have to guess if it's 1 or 2. If you pick the right number, then you pick first. If you get it wrong, I pick first. So I already wrote it down. I'm just going to hold it up, and then I'm going to flip it. Was it 1 or 2?
1.
All right. Oops. Let's go that way. It is a. God, I should not have left it.
Oh,
It's
my
a 1.
God.
So you picked first. Sure. So, all right, your first pick.
Tom Brady.
All right, mind you, it's Brady, Breeze, Ben, Rivers, Alex Smith, Rodgers.
Yeah, Brady.
Wow. Okay, so I get Rodgers. Okay, so Brady, Rodgers. Your next pick.
Roethlisberger.
All right, so you get Ben. So Brady. So I'm going Breeze. Okay, Breeze. So Rivers and Alex Smith.
Man, I love Alex Smith because of his comeback story, but I love Rivers as far as a better throwing quarterback. I'll take Rivers because I love his intensity.
Okay, so I get Alex Smith.
It amazes me how angry and intense he can be and never curse. Like I
know.
Can't. I love cursing.
I know. He's listen, my daughter has a tick marks of how many times I've cursed, and each tick mark I owe her a push-up since the beginning of the year. It is January 12th. I owe her 38 push-ups.
Dude, I took a walk with my neighbor the other day and his 3-4-year-old now daughter, and he cursed like 3 times. I'm like, I had to warn him, and I'm like, dude, which one of us is the dad again?
Yeah, I know.
I'm very PG-13ish around children. I use a lot of replacement words.
Yeah, so I try to normalize a lot of behavior that adults have. So when she actually hears it, she's not going to be jarred. Obviously, I'm not making it a point to just start singing the Uncle Effa song from South Park, but Terrence and Phillip song. But it just sometimes organically it slips out. I was in the army. It's not my fault.
Or F her gently from Tenacious D.
Or She Effing Hates Me by Puddle of Mud.
Muddle of Pud.
So all right. So Brady, why him over Rodgers?
Just 6 rings.
6 rings is very fair. So what have you seen from Brady this year? That it's just, the Bruce Arians offense, right? So it's one of those downfield things, and Brady's not that guy, but I actually think since the bye, I think they're undefeated. I think Brady leads the league in all most passing categories since then. And I honestly think that Brady, it's funny how much faster Eli, Rivers, Ben makes sense because Ben never took care of his body. Ben was, he was frat guy. I mean, Ben just didn't give a shit about his
gamer,
body.
though. I love that durability and that, as Colin Cowherd would say, he's got some pudding on him.
He does have pudding, but Ben is not very durable. I mean, he's been hurt a lot in his career. He was kind of an idiot when he was younger, got into some trouble that a lot of people think about or forget about. But even like you take like Rivers, right, or Eli, who are pretty good about taking care of their body. Or you look at somebody like even Breeze, who has been in the league for a year less than Brady, played less games than Brady, and for whatever reason, his arm strength is shot. Brady is 3 years older than Drew Brees. How the hell is Brady still this good? Outside of what we talked about. Okay. So
Braun wrote the blueprint on it. He spends $1 million a year on his body.
So right, but Drew Brees does the same thing. So what's different? Why is Tom Brady different? Is it one of these things where like certain guys are just like injured more often than not? Like Derrick Rose, injured. Russell Westbrook, nowhere near as injured as much as Derrick Rose, but they're kind of the same type of guy.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. So my thing with Brady is, and the reason I brought this up is because it very well could be that in an NFC Championship, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers play each other, which is the matchup I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
but you get the battle of the number 12s. These two guys have been circling each other for a long time. We've always wanted to see them in a Super Bowl. Now we can't, but we do get them in the NFC Championship possibly. So I think
the better game too. Usually can be the better game, the championship games.
Yeah, a lot of times they are. I mean, you think back to a couple of them. I mean, you think about the Seattle Green Bay game from, like 4 years or 5. Oh my God, how long ago was that? Now, God, it's like 6 years ago. Yeah. Or there's been a couple others. I mean, but like this is kind of the game we've always wanted to see in the Super Bowl, and like I said, we never got it. But I'm just curious. Like they're gonna play in Lambeau. Obviously, it's Lambeau. It's going to be cold. Brady never looks different in any climate. You ever notice that? He doesn't throw the ball any different. But, like, Peyton Manning does. All these warm weather quarterbacks do. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Softer now, though, after a season in Tampa. That Florida weather can change you, man.
Oh, tell me about it. I lived in North Carolina for 4 years. I dreaded every time I see a snowflake. I just turn into the Grinch if he was getting divorced. It was terrible.
Like, as much as I love the cold weather and I'm Mr. like always in shorts, snow blowing my shorts, like it takes me like a month to like acclimate to it. And then I'm like gold throughout it.
For sure. So
but whenever he's just sitting down there in that humidity and that 80-degree heat and sunshine every day, and he's just gotten a little softer with it. Plus those old bones.
That too. But Brady first over Rodgers. That was really interesting. I thought for sure you were going to take Rodgers.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Rodgers, but just like Brady's just. I don't know. He's just proven it time and time and time again.
So outside of those two, so we're gonna get rid of those two now. We need to like kind of move on. So Ben, Rivers, Breeze, Alex Smith, right? There's a possibility all four of those guys retire at the end of the season. Now, I don't think Ben retires because I think Ben has like $28 million or something like that guaranteed to him next year. Yeah, and it's a $41 million cap hit if they cut him, so they are stuck with Ben for at least one more season.
How does that work if he retires? Does that just come straight off the books, or is there?
I think it comes off the books. I don't think he gets that money, but
if he retires, then where does Pittsburgh even go for a quarterback?
I think they full court press on Sam Darnold, or they trade up. I don't know, but they're also in cap hell right now. I think they have the worst cap situation in the league. Them and Philly, I think, are 1 and 2 as far as the worst cap situations in the league right now. And they have to still pay TJ Watt, which they're not yet. But they're not going to be able to keep Bud Dupree. They have guys on their defense that they're going to have to pay in the next, year or two. And if they could get that, Ben Roethlisberger's salary off their books, then that would be great. I mean, if I'm the owner, if I'm Rooney, I absolutely 1,000,000% just be like, here, Ben, here's $30 million cash. Just retire for me. I think he might do it. It's the Mark Cuban, Dirk Nowitzki, silent contract where Dirk took all that money, took way less money than he probably should have, and Mark Cuban's going to give him a $40 million for a documentary about his life. So, yeah, I think that I think Pittsburgh's kind of in a horrible situation. I think because they're going to have to pay T.J. Watt, they're going to have to pay Devin Bush, they're going to have to pay Minkah Fitzpatrick, they're probably not going to pay Juju, but I think he's gonna demand money soon. My guess is they'll let him walk, but even still, I mean, if they want to keep the core of that defense intact, they got to pay Watt, they got to pay Bush, and they definitely have to pay Fitzpatrick after giving up a first-round pick for him, which he's been worth. But you gotta, you need a return on that investment longer than just 2 years.
Look at their division too. They're arguably the third worst team in that division now. Cleveland has leapfrogged them. Baltimore has definitely leapfrogged them. And if we get Joe Burrow back healthy, Cincinnati's going to make a run at them.
Yeah, 100%. So they definitely have to get younger fast, and I just don't see how that happens. I mean, they're still paying Pouncey. Their running back situation is absolutely terrible. I mean, that is a destination for the running back for Alabama, whose name just escaped me, Najee Harris, or Travis Etienne for sure. I mean, Pittsburgh needs to adjust running back like ASAP, and they do need to do it in the first round.
Is it amazing how quick fortunes can change in the NFL too? They were 11-0. And then they lost 4 of their last 5, and now we're talking about them being one of the worst teams in their division.
Yeah, I mean that is life in the NFL for you. So, all right, so I went with Drew Brees 4th. The reason I went with Drew Brees, and I think the reason you picked Ben over Brees is, Brees is got a cap gun arm right now, right? Brees' arm it's shot. I mean, he also broke 11 ribs. I guarantee you a guy that age is not healthy. After breaking all those ribs. So I think if they had anything resembling a Drew Brees of even 3 years ago with this roster, they probably would be in the Super Bowl this year, and they would probably be my pick in the NFC. But I just think Drew Brees is such a liability right now. I just do not see a scenario in which New Orleans makes it past Green Bay if they were to get past Tampa Bay, which I don't think they do.
Yeah, and I don't like Brees at all in Lambeau. That's why I'm kind of on board with you, hoping Tampa gets the Lambeau.
Yeah, 100%.
Nightmare.
And then Drew Brees is definitely retiring at the end of this year. I mean, I think he had to be talked into playing this year. And, he had kind of a tumultuous summer, to say the least, although, maybe a little unwarranted. But, as a as I am, I cannot judge. I cannot imagine, what it feels like to be on that side of the Black Lives Matter movement. And
well, there's anybody who deserves a break for like misspeaking to, it's Brees. Look at everything he did for New Orleans post Katrina.
Right.
Basically helped rebuild that city through his foundation. The amount of money he gave, things aren't black and white, man. You can misstep, you can make mistakes, but what have you done overall? And overall, he's done a majority of good. Overwhelming
100%.
Majority of good.
But he definitely didn't want to come back this year. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. And also I think his body probably just didn't have I think that had a lot to do with it too. And he had to be talked into coming. He has a job at NBC lined up. It's probably going to be him and Mike Tirico in the booth, probably for the rest of our lives. After Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth call it a career.
And tack on all the COVID protocols too. Everything I hear about how they have to practice and be together and go through film and stuff. None of this seems like fun. Seems like a pain in the ass.
Right. And especially if you take a guy that's as regimented as Drew Brees, he's very Peyton Manning in the way he prepares. And I think that's probably throwing him off too. And that's probably why he's, kind of had an off season for him, even with the diminished arm strength. So the next guy on our list is Rivers. You picked Rivers over Alex Smith for obvious reasons. I mean, Rivers played as well in that game against Buffalo as I've seen him play in a really long time. And I actually was kind of impressed with him, but at the same time, he has maybe one or two of those games in him a season at this point.
Yeah. I love how he's a gamer. I just love his intensity, but it just seems like he never got a team around him until the twilight of his career. It's kind of too late at this point.
Right, and even when he did have a team around him, I mean, he had that 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson team, the 2007 Chargers, where he played with a torn ACL in the AFC Championship, but he just sort of ran into a Patriots juggernaut, not really his fault. And then, it's just sort of like the Chargers have just been one of those franchises, and this is my fear with Justin Herbert, where they just don't do enough. I don't know what it is.
Snake bit and it just be mediocre. All this talent in the world, and they just can't get over the hump, and they can't harness it the right way.
So I actually heard a stat today, and I might be wrong, but I heard it today. The Chargers in their last 20 losses, lost 17 of those by one possession.
I believe it. Look how many they lost just the season alone.
Yeah.
And then go back to in like the past, I think it's like 5 years. Look at how many people they've had an injured reserve. Pretty sure they've led the NFL every single year in players on the IR.
I mean, you even go back to like somebody like remember Vincent Jackson, the receiver that they had who held out for 10 games. He was hurt a lot, and then you go into now, which is like with Derwin James is hurt. They had a couple years ago
or something. They're like cursed. It's like the Marty Schottenheimer curse.
Oh yeah, another guy. Yeah, remember Sean Merriman was essentially going to be the next Lawrence Taylor, and then blew his knee out, and he was never the same guy. He was barely a rotational NFL player after that. I mean, they've been snake bit by injuries. You're 100% right, and it's also like the Spanos aren't necessarily the greatest owners in the world either. So I don't know if they're necessarily getting top end people that want to come work for them. I don't know.
I don't know what it like. Is it the culture or what? Like they settled for playing in a soccer stadium for 2 years. It's just like.
And they didn't even get their own stadium. They had
football. Like they just
they
give a damn.
Right, exactly, 100%. And they had to be a sucker fish to the Stan Kroenke and just be like, hey, could we share the stadium with you? We'll give you money, and then they didn't even pay him on time. This is ridiculous. So, and then the last guy on our list is Alex Smith. That son of a bitch is the toughest MFer that's ever played a professional sport ever. I don't know how the hell he came back from that. He almost lost his leg. I watched the
20-something surgeries or something.
Yeah, I watched the E60 on it. He got infection from the surgery, where the infection ate a lot of his muscle tissue. I mean, it's still not right. He wore this absurd like brace on his leg for I don't know how many months. His wife actually had it turned into a pretty cool looking football trophy. Like it looks like a Lombardi trophy, like a robotic Lombardi trophy. That was pretty cool. Sweet. Yeah, and he just can't move anymore. And a lot of people don't know this, but a big part of Alex Smith's game was his ability to run. Alex Smith can flat out fly. I mean, in his heyday, for that, remember the Niners Saints divisional round game in 2011, where Alex Smith just took it up the sideline and just I mean, he single-handedly won that game for him. I mean, that's Alex Smith, and unfortunately, that's not him anymore. He has it upstairs. He still has some arm talent, but that leg is always going to be a liability, unfortunately, for him. And I think he's another guy that's going to retire at the end of this year. But it's tough son of a bitch, man.
That leg, like he wears that black stocking sleeve thing. And I've had issues in my left leg. I've had varicose veins in them and taken them out a few times. And I've had to wear those super tight sleeves, which let me tell you are a pain in the ass to get on. And I had mine pulled out. I had a couple procedures. I've got some residual scarring in the inside of my thigh. I can't imagine what his leg looks like underneath that sleeve. It has to look like just a murder scene or like hamburger meat. After all those surgeries, like all that scarring, like he probably keeps that sleeve on during sex. Like there's no way his wife wants to see that thing.
I definitely don't think that's something you want to see in the bedroom at that point. But I mean,
not gonna lie, after I had my procedure, I was wearing the sleeve. I had sex with it on.
We are all better for
that visual in your head.
It's in the crock pot of my brain. So it's slow cooking right now. I'll send it to you later. We're good. We are good. All right. Any final thoughts before you want to just pick flat out winners for without the spreads? I mean, I guess we can kind of tell, right? So we both have Green Bay. We both have Tampa. Yep. Do you have KC or Cleveland?
KC. Cleveland covers, but KC wins.
Yeah, I think
how insane would it be, though, to see a Buffalo-Cleveland matchup for the AFC Championship? How
no fans, dude.
90s is that game?
Oh, my God. It's like very earnest. The very earnest Biner versus Thurman Thomas. That game would be electric, and it just sucks that I live 20 minutes from the Bills Stadium, and it couldn't go. I'm not even a Bills fan. I would love to go to that game. Yeah,
can you imagine the Bills fans and then the dog pound travels for that game? Those two fan bases colliding in the AFC title game for a ticket to the Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? That'd be insanity.
Dude, man.
And if we get that game, that means Buffalo hosts another game. We have to have a blizzard. It's only appropriate. There needs to be like 3 feet of snow.
Oh, the other thing I thought about, the Super Bowl is in Tampa. Imagine if Tampa makes it. It'd be the first team to make it in their own home stadium. That'd be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
So
they're going to have fans, too. There's no way they're not going to have fans at the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's Florida.
Florida, too.
Florida's not even aware we're having a fan. Yeah, Florida doesn't even know we have a pandemic happening.
They
right
might
now.
bring in extra bleachers. They might expand capacity.
I think I'm telling you, I think a Florida man is going to ride an alligator right onto the field. He's going to streak, but on a gator. And I guarantee he'll be wearing a Zuba's bandana too. So, yeah. All right. So those are our winners. We all have home favorites this weekend. We should also remind people we are presented by Backsports Page, backsportspage.com. That is at QSwater. Wait, hold on. You changed your Twitter handle, right?
I just changed my name. I'm now Dr. Governor Cuse Waterboy.
That's an official title, too. Definitely designated by the New York State government.
Because Andrew Cuomo keeps taking all my ideas with legalizing marijuana and mobile sports betting.
100%.
His assistant looks at my Twitter and just steals ideas, and I may sue for it.
It's not a bad idea. I think he's going to have a lot of lawsuits to sift through by the time he gets Dior's. Maybe he'll just settle. He'll be tired of them.
Okay, so cool. Give me $44 and I'm good.
$44. At Cuse Waterboy, at Bill Kegel. Follow us at Under the Hoodies and at backsportspage.com, or excuse me, at Backsports and go read stuff on backsportspage.com. There is a interview that I did with Joe Buck years ago. The transcripts are still on there, and at some point I'll put up my interview with Ian Eagle that I did a while back as well, and gonna try to get more out to those more of those out coming this off season. Try to get some more guests on. You
brought up Ian Eagle. How awesome was his son Noah on the Nickelodeon call?
Yeah, he was really good, actually. Yeah,
he is a Newhouse graduate. I want to say he's like 23 or 24 years old. Like, there's still people at SU that had classes with him.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So
he's also the voice of the Clippers now too. Like, it amazing. Like, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just God, what's the word I'm thinking of when it's all in the family and you get a job because of them?"
Nepotism.
Yes, nepotism. And it's like, no, the guy, we saw it with the NFL game. He called his first NFL game as the play-by-play guy, and he killed it. Like, the guy has talent. You don't go to
he's 100% his dad on that level of talent. I will tell you that interview I did with Ian Eagle could not have been cooler, could not have been nicer. Him and I just talked movies, and all it was supposed to be is like a quick 10-minute interview where I just was like, let's correct your Wikipedia page. If there's anything wrong on it, we're going to fix it right here. And he just told me his life story. Only child, watched a lot of TV, watched a lot of movies. Him and I talked about the Shawshank Redemption. I mean, great guy. Gave me his time. Could not have been nicer. Same with Joe Buck, but I had a little bit of a time constraint because he was on a book tour. But I talked to him for about 10 minutes. Joe Buck, also great guy. Have those studs you hear and me dropping names, but I just want people to listen to this. So if you want to hear about what those two have to say, then we'll put them up. And we'll try to get more people on come the off season. So after the Super Bowl, we'll try to start having guests on, and we'll just talk about nonsense with those guests. So anything else, Tony, before we go?
Cuse UNC tonight. I am excited for the game. I'm excited for any college hoops. And I think my man Quincy Guerriere goes for 20 and 12 tonight. The old double-double against the Tigers.
Usually we end this with some kind of rant, but this is way too important of a stretch in football. So we're going to let Tony have that. And I'm going to tell you that it's going to be chilly.